We're going to start with the day you were born, and and we're going to gloss and we're going to gloss over a whole heap of shit, and then we'll get there.
Well, I've been here nearly 60 years, so there's a lot of shit to gloss over.
So, and I'm going to ask everybody to ask questions while we're going. So, if any time anybody wants to butt in, put your hand up. You know, we'll field a few questions. But we're not working to a script.
Yeah, that's okay.
And of course, this man needs very little introduction. He's been putting on a great show for us all weekend. None other than, of course, Frank Kelly, who's getting old like the rest of us.
Thank you, Graham.
No problem at all.
The gloves are off already.
All right. Let me put this into perspective. On Christmas Day, which is no day to be born, as we all know, but it's a real bugger when you're a kid because you don't actually get a birthday because it's on the same day as Christmas Day. And in 1965, on Christmas Day, Frank was hatched. And his parents sort of hung off for a couple of years and then had another 2 kids. So he had 2 boys. So Frank was the eldest of 3 sons. And I don't know at what point in time that he felt he was the designated show-off in the family, but here he is. And at the age of 7, he was driving cars around, and then it turned into, well, he was always wanting to fix cars and whatnot. Loved going to school, and how much did that get in the way of life, Frank? Going to school.
School was a trauma. It was a trauma. I just maybe a dyslexic or something. Just didn't work for me at all. Me and the teachers didn't get on too well. There was one teacher who had a 1600 Sport Escort I got on with. The rest of them were dickheads.
So first car was, like a lot of other famous rally drivers, and we have 1 or 2 here in Australia as well, was none other than a Mini. So, and the story of the Mini, which wasn't going at the time, how did that go for you?
My dad had a small workshop garage, did body work, mechanical work, sort of a one-man band, but he was always frustrated that we couldn't drive even though we were 7, 5 and 4. So we got the instructions one day that we could get this wreck of a Mini out of the field and going. We could learn to drive on it. So it didn't have all the doors and stuff on it, but we got it going and we drove it and wrecked it.
Right, as you would.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course we've got a few of our own famous Australian drivers. Peter Brock, of course, started off with some homemade vehicle that they used to belt around the farm, and Ed Ordinsky's another one who started off driving a Mini and all went on to bigger and greater things. And of course Frank's sort of no different to that in a way. So
You stuck with a 4-cylinder?
Yeah.
He stuck with a 4-cylinder.
Most of those other guys went to bigger cylinder cars, didn't they?
Okay, yep.
Bigger isn't always better, Merv. I mean, look at me. When I was 7, I was the same size.
All right. Thanks for that, Merv. And just pointing out, if anybody wants to have something to say. Right.
Merv, have you got your wristband? Yeah? Yeah? Sorry, Merv shouldn't be in here. He hasn't a wristband.
See, I've got my wrist. I've still got a wristband.
Merv, do you want to tell them that I nearly didn't get to do Sunday's runs because you wouldn't let me in? Who are you anyway? The only fucking Irishman here. Oh! I have a ride booked with you at 11 o'clock. You can go.
It was on Saturday, Friday, or Saturday?
Yeah. I have a wristband. I just didn't have it on my wrist. I don't know where it is. My wife's not here to look after me, so sorry.
That's all right. No, you butt in. Anybody who wants to butt in at any point in time, I've got a pretty sketchy list of notes here. We're going to get through a whole bunch of points here, and if anyone wants to have any comment or questions during the course, feel free to butt in. That's no problem at all.
I killed the Mini that me and my 2 brothers had salvaged to race up and down an old disused road behind us and our neighbours. So our neighbours were terrorised They literally couldn't come out through their back door without a white Mini trying to take their knees off. But the party trick was if you went to the very top of this old disused road, turn around and pelted all the way down, you could get fourth gear before the bottom.
Okay.
But being the same size as I am now, I couldn't see out. So I had a concrete block under the back of the seat. And just when I nicked fourth gear, the concrete block went that way and I went that way. I could see the sky going around in the windscreen thinking that's not good. And then there was a lot of banging and a lot of hitting, and I had a truck that was parked at the back of my dad's garage who had a mechanic underneath the truck and a big 40-gallon water tank. So the tank burst, the mechanic floated out from underneath the truck, and the Mini was dead.
And that was that?
Longest 2 hours of my life waiting for my dad to come home and face the music. And he made one of probably the worst statements of his life. Instead of beating the shit out of me like he should have, he just turned and said, "There's a really valuable lesson learned." How wrong he was. How wrong he was.
Okay, but of course that went on to bigger and better things. So what followed after the Mini?
Volkswagen Beetle.
You got it. Baby, we're on the same page here. Yes. Okay.
The whole story was leading to that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it was indeed.
Yeah. That's why he started when I was born.
Right. And that's why I had Frank sitting in the driver's seat of my Beetle the other day getting photos as if he was, and he felt quite at home.
It was
there.
a journey down memory lane, shall we say. We used to buy Volkswagen Beetles for like $20, $30. And you could put anything in the back of them, engine-wise, and you could make them into a badger bug, and you could do all kinds of stuff. Probably me and my two brothers are single-handedly responsible for wiping out the Beetle population in Ireland. We wrecked so many Beetles, it was just scary. We buried most of them in a field. But there was a stockyard track, we called it, a club local to me, and they ran like a really natural quarry that they used to run a dirt race on. And my dad used to race there, so I used to prep the car for him when I was like 9 and 10. And then it got to the point where I was driving that car. So we went through different iterations with the 1300 Beetle, the 1600 Beetle, the 1600 Beetle with twin 40s, the 411 engine, the 412 fuel injection engine, the Ford Pinto engine in the middle, and then that kept going up on its roof. Then put the Alpha twin cam out the back with the 40s. That was the dog's danglies.
What, in a Beetle?
In a Beetle, hanging out the back. Okay. The steering wheel didn't do much, it just held you in the seat. But with that and 16-inch Land Rover tyres in the back and Skoda 13-inch wheels in the front, it was probably like a Mad Max machine, but it was fantastic. I learnt a lot in that.
Okay, goes to show there's hope for everybody here. It's tinkers around with making Frankenstein cars of their own. There's sky's the limit. Your imagination's the only thing holding you back. Now, Frank, go on. We went. You found love in your life.
I can't remember what happened after that.
Can't remember that.
Raced the Beetles to probably until I was into 18, 19 years of age. Won our local championship 2 or 3 times, and then fell in love with a lovely young girl. And that's that. We decided to try and make our fortune and emigrate to Australia. So we went to London and worked in an Alfa Romeo dealership there for 9 years. Got enough money to buy tickets. Came to Australia, Melbourne.
1990?
1990.
Yep.
There was no motorsport in my life for those nearly 9-10 years in London and Australia. Got a job in an Alfa dealers in Melbourne, in the north of the city. Got them to do a sponsor thing for me and applied and got turned down. And went home, brutally disappointed, but life's life, who knows.
So the Australians didn't want to take you?
Well, I probably would end up with a fucked up accent, so I'm probably lucky.
Right. Is that because you failed the English test?
They did say it was because I spoke English is why I didn't get in.
Okay.
But that happened, and that was a very pivotal moment in my life because for quite a lot of years, from I was 9 or 10, I wanted to get out of Ireland because we shot each other at the time. So it was a place a dangerous place to be. Certainly not a place to bring up kids or have a family back then. So my course was always to get out of Ireland. I didn't want to live in England because it's full of English people. So it was a good place to make money, but not a place to live. And certainly motorsport was shite over there. So came back home then, came back to London after getting turned down. Thought we'll leave it for maybe a year and reapply again. But you guys were going through a fairly heavy recession back then, and it just didn't look like anything was going to change very quickly. A year after we left, the Alpha dealers that I worked in went bankrupt and disappeared, which really screwed everything. So it looked like all was heading the wrong direction. So ceasefire came in Ireland, guns were put down. We came back home and decided to put roots down, stay there, and get back into motorsport.
So how did parenthood change your life?
Not really. Obviously, I needed a co-driver.
Okay. Is that where we're heading here? Surely there was more.
Rosemary did a few rallies with me. When I came back home in '93, rallying for me was way beyond my means financially. Rallying has a great following in Ireland, but just when you watch it on TV and you watch it on the side of the road, there was no way I could afford to do that. So we went back to the stockyard racing. Beetles were dead and buried at that stage, so it was an Alpha Sud. Again, flat 4, with a couple of good seasons in it. And then my brother decided one day he was going to co-drive for a local nutter in a Vauxhall Chevette, which should be, what do you call a Chevette here? One of them.
Chevette.
Yeah, one of them. Gemini. Bit like a Gemini. So he was a bit of a local hero, and he was co-driving for him. And I couldn't understand this because my brother knew nothing about co-driving, like literally nothing. So he asked me to run him to the rally in the morning, which I did, dropped him off in the local town for the rally. The nutter and the Gemini had no service crew, so he asked me to drive the van out to the service area. That was bullshit because there was no way back from the service area, so I was there for 10 hours. But as the car come back in to be serviced, much against my will, it was a complete bag of shite. So I realised that my stock car wasn't better nick than this rally car, so that myth of it being unattainable, I thought my homebrewed thing, if I put glass and lights on it, it's actually better than this thing. It was hemorrhaging oil, the shocks were shit in it, there was Izapon hanging out, it was just a ball of dung. Right. So that quickly changed our minds, and as I took my brother home and gave him a rollicking for having me there for 10 hours, by the time we got to our house, we were building rally cars in our head, so went and bought a basic Fiesta XR2, little front wheel drive, late 80s thing. Complete ball of dung, but it got us into rallying and get through scrutineering, this mythical scrutineering thing, and downhill from there on in.
Okay. So Lauren turned up 29 years ago. When was her first rally? 29 and a half years ago? An embryo. We did, Rosemary, my wife, did 3 or 4 rallies with me, and took to it really well. But we discovered just after the last rally she did that she was pregnant, and we hadn't realised she was pregnant. So Lauren did her first rally in the womb. So she hadn't much chance, I suppose, but obviously Rosemary stepped back from the rallying, and I got a couple of other co-drivers in the meantime. But Lauren was 3 or 4 years of age. We had a weekly newspaper came out, Motorsport News, was all motorsport back then. And that's what I read to her to get her to go to sleep. And literally, I would get into the cot thing. She would be at one end, not wanting to sleep. I'd be at the other end with my legs crossed, reading about the local rallies that were going on, who finished where, and going down through the whole thing. And either she would fall asleep, or I would fall asleep, or we'd both fall asleep. So that's the way she was brought up. And from she could walk, every time a car started, she was out through the door like a rocket to get involved. And sometimes you would come home from work and she'd be sitting in the rally car in case it was going to go for a spin and she didn't hear it. By the total opposite, my son, who's 25, doesn't even know what rally car is, has no interest whatsoever. It's the craziest thing. Most people don't know I have a son. His name's Jack.
Jack is the only normal person in our house. He thinks we're completely cracked mental. A lot of guys at school with him back in the day were into motorsport, and they could tell him what I was doing, but he had no idea. And like, I could have a huge accident, and he wouldn't know till Wednesday, and he would come home and say, one of the lads said you crashed the car. What? Why you do that? Or you won something. You won the championship, whatever. What were you doing in the championship? Yeah, I was doing a championship. So he does his own thing. He drives a little Kia Rio, which sort of tells you everything.
Didn't wind up with the genes, did he? No.
No, he's lucky. He's escaped that. He might be happy.
Okay.
But Lauren, as I say, by the total opposite, she wanted to be involved. She never was supposed to be the co-driver. Most stuff that I've done has never been planned, including having Lauren. But 2015, she always looked after our in-car camera. She's big into the technology and making videos and all that kind of stuff. And she started the YouTube channel. She put me in social media against my will. But on the third time of asking her to take me off social media, eventually she got her way. But that opened a whole new thing. Like, I wouldn't be here today, rallying here, without social media and YouTube. Who's going to know about this blue Escort in Ireland?
So she was deep end motorsport. Yep.
Deep end motorsport, she called herself, because she was just chucked into the deep end. But she always said she wanted to do a rally. And it was 2015, season was over, engine went for a rebuild. Thought I'll get that back next year. Engine came back 2 weeks later, rebuilt. And there was one more rally that I hadn't planned to do, but I thought, we'll whack this in. If everything's going all right, we'll do that rally, gravel rally. And thought it's too late to look for a co-driver. It was the night before. Pace notes were sitting there, because you can buy the notes on a DVD just to look over the stages. So I knocked her bedroom door, and I said, you know the way you said you'd like to do a rally? It's tomorrow. So I throw the notes and the DVD in and bang the door before she gets to answer. And then next morning, 5 a.m., we're out through the door, and she says, I haven't got a license. But I says, you can apply. Back then you could. You can't do it now. You can apply on the day. You pay a $30 fine for not having it and do an application. So the poor girl in my overgrown suit and an old helmet, she waddles in, she gets signed on. We go out to the first stage. She doesn't know about a road book. We follow one of my mates, we follow him to the first stage, because I've got no sense of direction whatsoever. And we're sitting on the start line, and she says, right, I've picked out different parts of the stage that if I get lost, I can go to that bridge or that big oak tree if I get lost. And I says, no problem, I'll just drive accordingly. I'll not drive flat out. And about 1 kilometre in, we're in 6th gear on the limiter down through the forest. And she's just getting everything perfect. It's just unbelievable. And we get to the end of it, and I'm a blubbering mess. I can hardly even speak to her, because I'm just thinking, who the fuck are you? And where's this intelligence come out of? Because it's definitely not me. Are you mine?
Definitely.
Can I get a blood test done?
She is definitely your child.
Can I get a blood test
She
done?
is so you, Frank.
She takes after her mother, intelligence-wise, thank God. So we were fastest two-wheel drive in her first stage.
Yep.
Then I fucked up, because we did, excuse the language, we went the rest of the day fighting with our mates in our really fast cars, and we went into the last stage leading by 2 seconds, but I trimmed a ditch in 6th gear, and it took a lot of momentum off, and by the time I got out of it, I was in 2nd gear, and it lost us the win. But we finished second two-wheel drive in her first rally, and it's been really hard to get her out of the seat since. I had a full-time co-driver at the time, so it was probably 2020 before she got in full-time. And then she did her first tarmac rally and realised what motion sickness is. Never had any problem on gravel, but on tarmac, just brutal, because there's a lot of G-forces on a good day with 9-inch wheels and grip. But she's got a regime now with motion sickness tablets and bracelets, and she got that all sorted. But she's way above.
So when's she slipping into your seat, Frank?
She's driven the car several times on track days and bits and pieces. Yep. And she can do donuts far better than I can. Oh. But which wouldn't be hard, to be fair. But every time she steps out, she goes, nah, that was enough. You just do that and I'll do this. She knows that I couldn't co-drive because I would read something different than's written on the book. And I wouldn't have the balls to co-drive for her. So, but if you watch her videos, she's so within herself. I know I'm biased and I'm blabbering on about how great my daughter is, but she could go to world level. I have no doubt about that. Doesn't seem to want to, but she's been offered several really good seats with, you know, young men and Rally 2 cars that are at the front face of fighting for times back home, and won't take it.
Because Dad's the best.
Well, I don't know.
Why would you step out of a seat like that?
Well,
Frank?
she says that the fun and enjoyment is what she's after, which I can understand because that's what I'm after too. But I do feel that she could go much, much further. Having said that, I've always said that I would never push any of my kids into this sport, because what is there, 4 or 5 drivers in the world being paid properly? You know, it's such a thankless thing to actually try and make a living out of.
Yep.
So I've seen too many good drivers and co-drivers over the year sacrifice a lot for 10 or 15 years to try and make it and not made it. And it wasn't because of their skill, it was just because they didn't have the backing or they didn't have the nice face, you know, all that kind of crack.
Yep.
So I would never push them into it, but I would like her to try it.
Good. She's got her own BRZ or 86?
GT86.
86.
With a rocket bunny kit.
Yep.
Wide body and airbags, and
Yeah, I was enthusiastic about her pride and joy.
if she's not rallying with me, she's at a car show.
Yep,
She's a bit of a petrol nut.
brilliant. All right, let's step back to...
Jack doesn't take his Rio to any of the shows.
No,
I'm not sure what that's about.
he's just keeps it hidden in the back
Well,
shed,
he'd probably
doesn't
have to wash it, which is an issue.
he? Yeah, okay. 2007, Frank, you had a bit of a wake-up call. You want to tell us about that?
Oh, aye.
Oh, aye. Tell us the truth.
Well, it was drugs probably, was it?
No.
2007, I contracted meningitis at a rally, in a rally car, while leading the rally. Long story short, I did 2 rallies in one weekend, which is doable back home because of the logistics. Did a gravel rally on Saturday, had a great weekend, great day, got a podium. Didn't feel great towards the end of the day, bit of a temperature, nothing to worry about, we'll walk it off. Home, prepped the car for the next day, and went to bed and sweated buckets. Stupid to get up at 5 a.m. and drove to where the rally was and got disorientated and ended up in a different town. At that point I should have known I shouldn't have been in a rally car, but nobody was with me to tell me any different. It was a blind date co-driver that was meeting on the day at the event. I eventually got myself to the rally. Not very coherent at the time. Well, I suppose that's normal right enough, but both because the guy didn't know me, he didn't know that I wasn't right. And we headed off into the rally and we got 3 stages done. And then I started hallucinating, and long story short, I woke up in our local accident and emergency hospital 3 days later. So it took about 3 months to get back on my feet and probably 6 months to get into a rally car or do any work again. No big long-term problems, because you can lose hearing and eyesight and stuff. A couple of nerve problems in the ear for balance and that, but your body works that out after a wee while. So it was 6 months before I could get in a rally car again. I tried several times and got her down to the end of the road and had to be escorted back home again, but got sorted, got over that. But it was a wake-up call for me in lots of ways, and I think we all need a wake-up call sometimes to get your priorities right in life. So my priority was sitting the missus down and saying, listen, from here on in, we're rallying the absolute fuck out of it. I don't care what happens to back balance. Don't care what happens to the pension plan. The pension plan is that blue thing out on the street there. The way I sort of rationalise that is that you have your pension and it's gambled on stocks and shares, and some boys looking after that. My pension plan's there and I gamble and baiting up and down the road, but I have some kind of control over that. And when it's over, that will get me going for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And sure, that's it. Life's over when rallying stops anyway.
Yep. Excellent.
So everybody buy a rally car and forget about life.
So Frank, according to Frank, what's normal?
Abnormal?
Abnormal?
Is that a trick question?
No, what's abnormal?
I can't spell it, but
Can't spell it.
go on, give me a clue.
I don't know.
What's normal?
Normal's different for everybody. Everybody has a different interpretation of normal.
Eat, sleep, rally, eat, sleep, rally,
sorry.
have a shit, eat, sleep,
Okay.
rally, eat, sleep, rally, have a
Okay.
shit,
Right. That's normal.
buy tyres, buy fuel,
Right.
eat, sleep, rally.
So what's a good reason for change? Why would you change something? Why would you change something on the rally car out there?
Don't keep asking me trick questions. If you wanted to go faster, you mean, or something?
Well, for whatever reason. Some people just change because it's next year and we want next year's model, and we change because we
with what
because
I have.
we can.
I'm the bush mechanic mentality.
Yep.
Work with what you have, work within your reach. Like back in the day, you'd go to the local wreckers and buy a bucket full of taillights for $20.
Yep.
I didn't buy a taillight, I bought a bucket full of taillights. You have to work out, it's like the Higgins guy with the parts, you have to work out what's happening and try then take the piss with the grey area.
Yep.
Because originally with that guy with the bucket full of taillights, the bucket got bigger and he didn't realise.
Okay.
So I went in with a bigger bucket every time. But it was the same price per bucket. So you have to work with that kind of thing. As I said to you out there, building up relationships with manufacturers. I've been very lucky. You know, Lauren and Rosemary are the main instigation of why we're here. I'm here today. Not wanting to be on social media and not being that way inclined. But they made me do it, they bullied me into it. And that opened up a whole new world. The YouTube thing, pretty much where it started to take off was when my co-drivers always pay the entry fee. If they haven't got skin in the game, they're not getting in the car. And I can't afford the entry fee as well as the tyres and the fuel. So that's the thing I've always insisted on them. When Lauren wanted to do that, she said, you still have to pay the entry fee. You're still a co-driver. Doesn't matter if you're my daughter. So she monetized YouTube and she puts the ads in. And it doesn't cover it all, but it covers a fair whack of it. And that comes from all different directions in our house. I told some of the guys the story about getting the mortgage to put in our new kitchen back in 2012 and then going buying an engine with that mortgage. Rosemary still wanted her kitchen. And I told her, give me 6 months or a year and you'll have your kitchen. 2 years later, no kitchen. So she decided to take it into her own hands. She says, well, listen, I'm going to do merch. I'll do sweatshirts, jackets, t-shirts, whatever. And I says, you know, Oscar, who's going to want to buy a Kelly Motorsport jacket? You're wasting your time.
Who's going to buy a motorsport jacket?
I said she was wasting her time, and that was 2012. So she's pig-headed like me. She just did her own thing. And the first rally that she had there, she went with a little table and set up beside the service van in Donegal International 2012. And she had spent a lot of my tyre money getting that stuff there. So the deal was that if she could sell a hoodie, I could, 3 or 4 hoodies, I could buy a tyre. So I said, you need to fucking sell a lot of stuff here for me to buy tyres. So I'll never forget the first service we came into after 3 stages. It was a lovely sunny day in Donegal, which is a rare thing. And we drove into the service, and it's, you have to remember there's like 220 competitors, 230 competitors in this rally. So the service area is massive. There's vans parked left, right and centre. There's spectators trying to get in. It's pandemonium. We're waiting to get in through the time clock to get into service. And this kid walks past in one of our hoodies and I went, she sold a hoodie. The woman sold a hoodie, fair play. 1 hoodie, yeehaw. Got in through the service timekeeper, got our time, and we head off down. I think, where's our van? Where's our van? And there's a massive crowd down there around one of the WRC dudes, and we're down. I'm round service 3 times. I'm 4 minutes into my service schedule. I still haven't found my van. And I stop and lad, do you know where the fuck our van is? Have they actually got here yet? Where are they? He says, that crowd, it's in there. Your missus is flat out. We get into service, we get through this crowd, she's inundated. The lad that's servicing for me is helping her. We don't see him. We service the car ourselves and we leave, and they didn't even know we were there. That night, I just couldn't get over it. She sold out. She had sold out everything in one. It was a 3-day rally and she had nothing for the next 2 days. But she could sell snow to the Eskimos, to be fair. So it took off then, and I thought, well, that was great. That was a blip. She sold stuff, you know, let's back away from that now that we've done that. 2025, she's selling stuff to Japan, to Argentina, all over the world, Australia, everywhere.
She's a lovely girl, that Rosemary.
She's a lucky woman.
And I think you're a very fortunate man.
Aye, well, maybe.
Now, how did you get on with Starsky and Hutch?
Aye, that's a mute subject. Starsky and Hutch are our 2 chucks. You guys call them, they're chickens, really.
Chickens.
Is chuck short for chicken, or what's that?
House chickens.
Starsky and Hutch is Lauren's chickens that shite everywhere. If we could train them or put nappies on them, I'd have no problem with the chickens. But 18 months ago, Hutch tried to get in the house, and I was running into the house. I was heading to Wexford Rally. I ran in the house to get something before I headed off, and I banged the door behind, and Hutch was halfway in. And I heard the snap. So my first worry wasn't, is Hutch dead? It was, oh shit, I've lost a co-driver. Because they're basically her children.
What?
And I went, shit, now can I deny any responsibility? Can I say I wasn't even there? Can I just put the chicken out into the garden and maybe she'll just think it fell over or somebody drove over it? But we have CCTV around our place because I fit CCTV and she has access to all that. So I knew rightly I was going to be caught. So I owned up, and chicken was scooped up straight to the vet, and the vet says it's a chicken. They're like $10. You go and buy another chicken. And she's, no, this is Hutch. This is not a chicken, this is Hutch. And Hutch has a character, to be fair. So she got medication for inflammation and all that kind of crap, took her home. And her and Rosemary made splints out of lollipop sticks and cable tied the leg. And this leg's been dragged about. So me and Lauren went to the rally, and Rosemary stayed at home to look after the chicken. No merch was sold in Wexford.
What?
So we came home and the chicken is still dragging his foot around. But fast forward 5-6 weeks and the chicken's fixed and the cable ties are removed and it's going, and that's 18 months ago, and the chicken's still going flat out.
Still going.
So I still have a co-driver.
Excellent.
And I reckon if it dies now, it's nothing to do with the bloody leg. Would you agree?
Exactly.
It's nothing to do with the leg.
Yeah. I mean, most of us would have just plucked it, stuffed it, and baked it, wouldn't they?
I would have thought so, but that's losing a co-driver again.
Yeah, again.
Don't eat the pet chicken.
Don't eat the pets. So when's the book coming out, Frank? All these diaries that you've been sticking away over all the years with all your setups and everything else.
I know, but that's nothing to do with actually what happened in the rally.
And all the
who wants to know what
tales?
setup I used in Galway in 2024? We always talk about, that's another paragraph in the book, but I don't think there'll ever be a book. But somebody mentioned Hanlons to me earlier. Do you know what a Hanlon is? No? It's an Irish thing. It's like a siege. You know what a siege is? No, I just don't. I need a word.
A siege.
A siege. Could be a siege or a Hanlon. It's when you get into an awful mess and it's all of your own making, but you eventually get out the other side of it. It's a Hanlon. We call it a Hanlon. There can be a wild Hanlon, which is worse than a Hanlon, and then there's an odious Hanlon, which is the worst Hanlon you can ever be in. Well, we get into Hanlon as a paragraph in the book, and I'm always in Hanlons.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
No.
Not at all. That's why you need to write a book, Frank, so we can read it slowly and interpret
did a rally. Our first big overseas rally was in Trinidad and Tobago, and I had to look at the map to see where Trinidad and Tobago was. Turns out it's off the South America coast. I thought it was South Africa. I would have went to the wrong country. But one of the co-drivers that was there was my co-driver at the time. I was 2014 before Lauren got on board. 14. But I taught him what Hanlons were. Okay. Hear a Jamaican talking about Hanlons is the funniest thing you've ever heard. The funniest thing you've ever heard. It was hilarious the whole time he was talking about Hanlons. Well, it was an odious or just a Hanlon.
Okay.
You know what a Hanlon is, don't you? Well, you do now.
Do we know? Do we know? I don't know.
That's usually what happens to me is a Hanlon.
A Hanlon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you have burst a wheel in a stage and you get out and you change the wheel and you go to the next stage and you burst another wheel and you have no spare, and then you drive through that stage and you get out and you drive to the next stage on the bursted wheel, and then you put on the worst burst wheel to get that burst wheel off. That's a Hanlon.
That's it. Right.
It's not odious, it's not wild, it's just a Hanlon.
Hanlon. Okay.
When the strut disappears and there's nothing to bolt the wheel onto, that's into wild Hanlon territory. Okay?
Yep.
Then when that all drains down, the chassis starts disappearing, you're into sump. That's odious Hanlon.
Okay. We're all clear. No problem, I'm all over that. Now, don't be shy, everybody. Anyone else want to keep this conversation rolling?
Can you tell us how to spell it so I can Google it after?
Trust me, it doesn't turn up in Google. It's an Irish thing. Hanlon, Hanlon. It's like sometimes on my things about how the rally went at the weekend, we'll put in handling and I'll usually get 15 messages. What's a handling? But that's from other parts of the world, because in Ireland everybody knows what a handling is. Handling or a siege.
Right.
Or sometimes I'll say we had great crack at the weekend. People think I've been starting drugs.
You have a crack, we know what you're doing if you gotta have a crack.
No, having a crack is different. We have crack, we don't have a crack. Merv, shut up. You're getting me into handling. It's not crack cocaine. It's just having the crack as the banter. The banter, standing up at the top after the hill climb when you're waiting to regroup to go down. That's having crack.
Yep, absolutely. Now, we're not going to be talking about politics or religion, so I've just about come to the end of my notes. So let's have some questions from the floor.
What do you think of MRF rally coach?
Sorry?
You know the answer to that. You like them in WA?
Fuck their shite. I did use 4 MRF gravel rally tyres on the hill climb. That's about as much use as they are. This is probably going to come back and haunt me someday, no doubt, but what do you call the importer, the Indian dude? Vivek. First time I met Vivek was on the 2017 Light Force rally up in Mount Crawford. And MRF was the tyre you had to use. I had no option. But I'd never even heard tell of them before. But Vivek was all biz and loads of tyres and work away, and come in after the first stage and I thought, these are complete dung. They didn't wear, they just chunked, just come chunks out of them. And we had 2 stages to do in the first loop and then back to service. And I attacked those first 2 stages just like it was a rally at home. All guns blazing, let's see what we can do. Didn't know what the opposition was like, didn't want to be caught napping and lose that much time that we couldn't get it back. So pushed like hell. End of the first stage, it was 20 kilometres long. I got out and had a look because I knew she was getting very wandery towards the end. And literally we have lumps of canvas sticking out. And we have another 12 kilometre stage to do to get back to service. And I get in and I thought, how do I tell Lauren that I've just fucked this whole thing on the first stage of a 2-day rally? I have just wiped the back of her and with 1 spare. And I get in and I said, Lauren, there's good news and bad news. Good news is we're fastest 2-wheel drive by 22 seconds or something. Bad news is we're not coming out of stage 2. So drove gently to stage 2, drove as gentle as I could on stage 2, and almost totaled it twice. Got a puncture towards the end because we literally had gone through the canvas and got to where the air was stored. Got out of the stage, jacked up, fell off the jack, but got jacked up again, got the spare wheel on, drove over Lauren's foot in the middle of the whole thing. But she's a co-driver, she doesn't need feet. So got back to service and Vivek's all full of business and I says, they are the greatest load of dung I have ever had on a car in my life. Yeah, but they're really good tyre, but they're dung. Maybe the dung thing didn't get the message through. So we changed to shite for a while. But he just kept coming back asking me how good they were and I kept saying, they're shite, they're shite, they're absolutely shite, they're not fit for purpose. Yeah, but they're good tyre. No, but they're shite. But he just kept coming back asking me all the time. What was left, Kev wrecked then for a couple of rallies, didn't you, after that? I never ever wanted to see one again, but when the car came home from Australia that time, there was I think 4 or 6 on rims just to stop the rims from rattling around on the rack. And they sat in my workshop for months and months, and I don't like throwing stuff away or giving stuff away. I'll get some victim and I'll sell them. I'll sell them these tyres. So I sat there for a long time and no victim. Lots of boys buy tyres off me. I have a good list of lads that come and buy gravel and tarmac tyres and keeps the thing going on. You get 4 of them sold, you buy 1 new one. You know the story. But these MRFs always were left there. They were never going to go. So we did, the first time we did Rally Legends in San Marino was tarmac. And I thought, we'll take gravel tyres there and we'll just melt them. Boy, are they good on tarmac. The gravel tyre is great on tarmac. Shite on gravel, but good on tarmac. It's not the right thing, but it survives and it stays stable and it sort of wears down slowly, because they're way too hard for gravel.
Without losing chunks.
Without losing chunks.
Yep.
And that's what I ran over the weekend. So that's all they're fit for. Or a silo pit. Do you know what a silo pit is? Silo pit is where we keep dung from the cows. And because it's covered in plastic to make it sweat and get really smelly over the winter, we use old tyres to keep the plastic down, so they're good for a silo pit.
Okay.
You
Very
mentioned
good.
before about doing your first away rally in Trinidad and Tobago. What was the catalyst that led up to doing rallies out of your home?
That's a good question, but a long story. I'll try and shorten it a bit. We went to Jamaica in 2010. Glenn Campbell, who was down here, he lives now in Adelaide, a good friend of mine from back home. He had a little Micra and he was a good man for wheeling and dealing and getting to these weird countries. So he rang me and he says, we're going to Jamaica. I have a spare ticket if you want to come with us to, tag along. And I thought that would be handy. Free sounds good to me. But I says to him, listen, that's great, but there's no way in God's green earth that Mrs. Kelly is going to let me go to the Caribbean on my own. So we're going to need 2 tickets. So that was grand, 2 tickets were sorted. So we headed off, and it was kind of to go and see what this overseas thing was about, to see if we wanted to do it, or if we could do it, or if there was enough money to do it, or what the whole thing was. Now, it turned out it was actually the service crew, but I didn't know that until I got there. But it was very rough and ready, the whole thing. Rosemary was with some of the travelling spectators, and they had a scout or a carer that took them all around to make sure they didn't stand in the wrong place, because machetes are a thing. I ended up then, when the servicing was done, I did like a course car in a Suzuki RAV. Suzuki, what's a Suzuki 4x4? Vitara. Which was less a bumper, no brakes, and a bulge in the roof when I was finished. So we did that. In the middle of the rally, the guy that was looking after Rosemary's circle and the bus that took them there, he headed off somewhere else and left them all in the middle of the jungle. So white woman in the middle of the jungle, she was in bother, literally in bother, but she was befriended by these Trinidad dudes that were over watching the rally. And it turned out they were the rally organisers in Trinidad. They were over on a fact-finding mission in Jamaica. So when they worked out who she was, they gave us an invite right away. It took 3 or 4 years to make that happen, but that's how we ended up in Trinidad. Again, I had to look at the map to see where the bloody place was. But the other funny story about Jamaica, they have very few marshals. So what they do is they have a big yellow bus, and when the stage is over, all the marshals get in that bus and then race the rally cars to get to the stage ahead of them. And there's this kind of going on all the time where there's 2 yellow buses taking marshals to that stage and that stage, and they're going like clappers to move all these marshals around. It's a sight to behold. But being in the Vitara with the clerk of the course with me, you're constantly trying to avoid these buses driving over you and get to where you need to go yourself, and they're trying to get past all the rally crews. But we got to the last stage, which was a really, really fast stage, because I went with Glenn on the recce and I actually wrote notes for it, just practicing. So we're sitting on the start line, there's an 03 Focus WRC sitting behind us, number 1 on the road, and the bus is like nearly at the end of the stage dropping off the marshals, but they couldn't wait till they were at the end of the stage, so they started the stage before they were there. So they sent us in and said, we have only so long before the road has to be open, so we have to start the stage now. So like, you're getting a 1.5 minute start on a 18 kilometre stage over a WRC Focus and a Vitara. mildly worrying. But I thought, I have the pace notes. So I got my pace notes out and I handed them to the co-driver. I said, you're on notes, we're going to have to do notes. So that was grand, but his 12-year-old son had got in the back. So I says, put your belt on. You're going to need your belt on. So we went like the clappers into the stage, and there was a moderate jump. And the back bumper disappeared on that jump. But that seemed to be all that had happened. But we got to the stage, we clocked 9th overall through the stage. The WRC Focus didn't catch us, but I was relieved to just got there that we didn't fuck up the rally on the WRC guy.
And the kid was still in the back.
We pulled into the side and we're all full of it, and he was happy that he got the notes right and everything worked right. And I looked around to the cub and he was gone. And then I looked down and he was lying on a heap unconscious. He had not put a seatbelt on. And on the jump he hit the roof.
Oh,
Hence the bulge in the roof.
yep.
But he came around after a while and we cleared up the blood and everybody was grand. And as far as I know, he's still alive and he doesn't have a twitch. So that's how we ended up in Trinidad. But Trinidad was a crazy place too. Do you want to know about Trinidad?
Sorry?
Am I slabbering too much?
No, you're doing great.
Trinidad, we had the greatest time in Trinidad. Again, it was a local co-driver and the guy that learnt what a handling was. But again, I attacked it probably a wee bit rash. It's taken me a while to realise when you're that far from home, you need to bring it down a wee bit because you're a long way from home to total the whole thing. And people have invested to get you there, so you need to sort of get to the end of the rally, or at least as far as you can. If you disappear in the first stage, that's not much payback for what's been invested to get you there. So I do have to think that in my head. I didn't that day, and we had a serious moment on the first stage. And when I think back, the co-driver kept saying, check the speed. Now I thought he meant, just check that you're going fast enough. He obviously thought we were going too fast. And we went down into the bushes on a 70-mile-an-hour left-hander, and luckily just took a mud flap off, and that was it, back out onto the road. But I realised what he was talking about, and we backed it off after that. But anyway, fast forward, end of the rally. I think we were 4th overall, top two-wheel drive. People were unbelievable. Stages were fantastic. They didn't close much of the roads, but we didn't meet anybody. But there was no tape up at junctions. You had to know on your notes where it went. You could come across roads and go anyway. So that was a bit unnerving, but we worked all that out. But anyway, got to the finish, and they took us to the sports bar, as they called it, in the centre of town, where the prize giving was to be. I was late getting there, so they parked the top 5, which we were part of, out the front. I told one of the guys this story the other day, and as I arrived late, nobody was there. They were all in the sports bar, and all these cars were lined up. I just drove in towards the pavement, parked up, went in, and then now you have to come out, turn the car around, the same as the rest of them. So, all right, fair enough. Out, reverse the car back, and there's 2 people standing there, no issue. Reverse back, it's a dual carriageway, so I'm being really careful, get back out again, turn around, and there's 200 people there. And there's all this donut and shit going on. So I thought, we'll do a donut. Donut turned into like 25 donuts. Round and round and round and round till the tyres were about to explode. There was a Porsche Cayenne parked and he disappeared in the smoke, and I wasn't sure where I was in relation to the Porsche Cayenne, but I didn't hit him. So then I eventually went to drive back into the space, but they opened the front double doors and I ended up driving into the nightclub. Down through the back and then onto the wooden dance floor. So Baby Blue's sitting on the dance floor. These tinnies are all going completely mental. Crack is good. I get me 7-Up, get something to eat. 10 minutes later, the riot police arrive. Obviously, somebody's reported this blue Escort doing what it did, and the evidence is on the road. So she's sitting there, and there's smoke coming still out of her. And I see the COC making a run towards these guys, and like it's proper military job. You know, riot shields, batons, right. The boy with the fluffy thing on his shoulders, and he's peaked, and he's medals and the whole lot. And I'm saying, right, Guantanamo Bay, maybe it's a thing here. You know, what's the story? Am I going to be in an orange jumpsuit? What's going to happen? This is turning into an OGIS handling.
You're going to get waterboarded.
We're way over just the ordinary handling. We're into OGIS handling. But there's a frantic conversation, a bit of shouting and a bit of pointing, and then there's something goes in his shirt pocket and he's happy. Turns around and he's gone. So that was all sorted. But an hour and 2 hours later, we go to take Baby Blue out, and we take 2 lumps out of the wooden floor because she's stuck to it. Drove her off like here, they go, and then she's so as far as I know, them still there. So that's how rash Trinidad was. And the Aussies built V8s. Back then, if you can remember that time. Is it too soon to say that?
No, look, most of us can remember when we built cars here, when men were men and we drove V8s.
They try and do these rally legends in 3 or 4 different countries. There's Italy, Portugal, there's one in Spain, Austria and Poland are the main ones. And they'll let Group B cars run. Technically, they're not timed, but quite a few of the Group B boys just drive them like they're timed. So it's a sight to behold, it's fantastic. And because my Escort is a Millington powered Escort, there's none of them around there. They're different, so they lump us into Group B. So you're sitting among the fire-breathing Quattros and the Lancia S4s and all that kind of stuff. And the hair's down the back of your neck. It's an unbelievable experience. But the one in San Marino, specifically in Italy, is the biggest one and the craziest one. And that's the one you'll see with the videos where the people are on the road, like the old Group B days, where you're dodging people's legs. But it's an unbelievable feeling, but probably because of my one brain cell being occupied looking at the road. I know there's something there, but I don't know it's people. And in the light of day, when you watch back the in-car, you go, nah, it wasn't the wisest thing to be at. But in the middle of it, it's just an unbelievable buzz. So we get to do that. And thankfully, the Rally Legends in San Marino, there's a waiting list to get an entry for that. And it's a huge amount of money that they just take you by the jugular. But they invite us for some reason every year, and we get free of charge access to everything, which is good. And sponsors like it as well. But it's one of them things, if anybody's ever thinking of going, go soon, because they're not going to get let doing that for much longer. Much as I would love to, but...
So I've seen photos of you on the front row of a whole bunch of Escorts down a runway.
Oh, that was Escort Special in Belgium.
That was the Escort
Yeah.
in Belgium?
Yeah.
Right.
Belgium, a guy called Christophe Jacob is big in the motorsport department in Belgium. He's actually a lobbyist in government. I don't know what a lobbyist does. What does a lobbyist actually do? Because I must ask him. I think they just... I think they basically just talk you into shit, don't they? Well, he talked me into going to do the rally.
Yep.
He rallies a historic Escort himself and is a very quick pilot and a lovely man. But he'd been at me to come and do an Escort rally in Belgium for a few years. But the only rally we see on TV for Belgium is in like the cobblestones, really treacherous shit and big deep ditches. And I thought, Frank doesn't need to go there because that's like 2 Chinese shells worth of stuff and a bucket full of taillights. So I turned him down until 2018, and he asked us to come and do an Escort special.
How many Escorts in the
So
field?
that first year, there's 111 Escorts from all over Europe. Mark 1s, Mark 2s, Mark 3s. Escort Cosworths can enter as long as it's a Ford Escort. Doesn't have to have a Ford engine, just has to be a Ford Escort.
Yep.
So it was great to think, right, we'll go and do that. We tied it up with doing Rally Legends in San Marino so we could do it all in the one trip, spread the cost of the shipping, because it's an 18-hour ferry from Ireland to Europe. It's costly. So we that spread out. And I don't know if it fell between the emails or what, but I thought I was going there to be the hooligan, as usual. But when I arrived there and we went through scrutineering and did a seeding, we were third on the road, and I thought that's very high on the road to be the hooligan, hold people back. So I said to him, maybe move us a bit further back. He says, no, you're competing. And I says, well, you didn't say that. I don't have any tyres. No MRFs, no nothing. It was a tarmac rally, so I wangled a few second-hand ones of guys that were there. We got tyres gathered up and we went. And it was a strange rally because beautiful stage. We rocked up, and like a lot of countries maybe that don't do as much rallying as we do in Ireland or here, the timekeepers aren't that experienced. You'll get maybe one experienced guy in the team, and the rest of them have just been rocked up on the day and said, this is what you do and this is how you do it, but they don't have much experience. So we rocked up, and nobody was at the time control. So we waited and we waited and we waited, and eventually somebody came down and gave us the time we were looking for. We drove in round and there was nobody at the start line. We hadn't our helmets on or anything. So we drove up the start line and we get the 30-second warning, and I haven't my helmet on. So we frantic pulling helmets on and getting stuff, and I didn't get 2 gloves on, I got 1 glove on, and it was 0-1, and I pulled first gear and went. And it was literally like somebody had put my back bumper on fire. I was trying to get away from my back bumper the whole stage. We drove like a complete lunatic, and it just felt the ropiest stage I'd ever done. And we were fastest by, I think, 11 seconds over anybody. And that essentially won us that rally, because we were thereabouts the rest of the day, but we were never that much faster than everybody. And we had a wee detour into a field, but it was just into a field and out of it again. Didn't cost us anything. So we won the first Escort Special, and it was a very proud moment for me. One of them days where I couldn't take off my helmet for like 20 minutes because I didn't want to be seen blubbering like a stupid idiot with Lauren sitting beside me. So it was her first win, an unbelievable feeling, and big bronze Mark II Escort plinth trophy thing. And I thought, well, if I never do this again, we're the first name on that trophy. Frank and Lauren Kelly. Just an unbelievable feeling. And they're lovely people, fanatical about rallying and fanatical about Escorts. And the fact that it was, as I said in the thing afterwards, turns out to be the fastest Escort in the world, but not in Ireland. Because there's so many Escorts in Ireland with young, fast drivers. So that was fantastic. We've won it 3 times now. It didn't run last year because the infrastructure around the rally and the service was a racetrack is all getting restructured. So it's supposed to be back on next year, so I'll go back again.
Terrific. Well, we'll see you on the front row, no doubt.
I hope so.
Hope so.
Or upside down in the field, one of the two.
Have you ever been approached to go something like Dakar or off-road?
No, nobody's that stupid. We're lucky we get lots of invites all over the world, but I've never been able to pick where I want to go, otherwise I have to pay for it. And I literally can't pay for it. We're a working family. We can't afford to do half this shit. It's just a team effort between selling merch, YouTube, dealing with manufacturers, getting this all together, and just keep juggling. So there's rallies I would love to do, but there's no point in even approaching them. I would love to get doing a rally in America before I quit. Rallying in America looks really raw, and I like that raw shit. Sounds like you can get it in the handling. So I'd like to do one of them, but I've never had an offer from America. You'll get some people, I'll ask you to do a rally in some country, and then you go back and say, yeah, this is what I need to do, and this one. Oh, no. You pay the entry and you pay your own way. We just want you to come to the rally. No, that's not the way this works. And I have had it once where it turned out like 5 emails in. It was a 12-year-old in his bedroom that just wanted to see a blue Escort there. It had nothing to do with anything, it turned out. So you have to be careful.
When did you build your first Escort?
The
car that was available at the time, did you particularly want to build an Escort?
I didn't, but what the thing was, the Fiesta that I was talking about earlier, I developed that over the years and it became a Tonka toy. And her nickname was the baby baboon, because it literally could go anywhere. It was like a baboon, it had no head or tail on it. But it was the way, it was built out of the scrapyard, and a Fiesta had an 1100 pushrod engine for a reason. It shouldn't have done any more than 100 kilometers at any point in its life, because it had no geometry, it had no structure, rigidity, it had nothing going for it. So I developed it over the years, and I widened it by 2 inches, and I lengthened it by 4 inches. Put Cosworth Escort struts in the front and Metro 6R4 front struts in the back, and made it independent. Then I kept it front wheel drive. I put a Z-Tac 2 litre out of a Mondeo in, put carbs on it, put cams in it, 5-speed Quaife dog box, made my own drive shafts to try and keep it together, and it became something that, when you were totally committed, like heading to the scene of the crime committed, you could match the Escorts. And in an odd rally, you could get to the end of it, you could get on the podium. But 9 times out of 10, Frank put her in the tree or put her in a field trying to do that. So it became great. If you want to see Frank, go to the first stage. Chances of him being in the second stage are light. So the reputation sort of being a wee bit wild grew then. And I was my own worst enemy. You literally didn't think further than the next corner. And it was like holding on to a raging bull. But eventually, I had 1 3 too many. Put it in complete shit. Broke collarbone and ribs and stuff. Rung Rosemary from the back of a paramedic's truck and said I'd slid off the road. She'll never believe me again. Again, there's no social media then, so she didn't know what I'd just done. Signed ourselves out of the bloody paramedics truck without going to the hospital. Didn't know I had broken bones. I was in shock, obviously. So then the next morning, when she went to try and get me out of bed to go to work, she realised that there was things broke. She pulled back the blankets. There was the mark of the harness the whole way down me. And Lauren was only 4 or 5 at the time, and I remember the two of them helping me down the stairs to get into the car to go to the accident emergency. And then a doctor that didn't speak much English asked, had I fallen out of a tree or been run over by a bus or what happened? And why are these black marks down me? When the car was recovered, the seatbelt actually broke, the shoulder belt broke on it. So it was a fairly decent impact. But Fiesta was dead. I had a sling on me. They wanted to do one of them big plastic things, but I had work to do, so it had to be flexible. So they put the sling back to pull you back into shape to keep the collarbone, to knit up. I went and done a first fix in the house, and then I went to Donegal to look at an Escort. And I couldn't drive it because I couldn't literally turn the steering wheel. but it was a bag of shit. So it was maybe a month after that I got enough together. The Fiesta was so badly wrote off, I had to, there was nothing to sell. It just was complete loss. The block was burst, the gearbox was burst, the brakes were burst, everything was destroyed. But I reblocked the engine and rebuilt the gearbox into a new case and got some money back, and then bought an Escort, a red Mark II Escort. Didn't like the car. It was a really good car. Looking back on it, I don't know why I didn't gel with it. I think I was actually still in shock. I think I was probably traumatized from the accident. Every time I seen the 3, I had a panic attack. So that doesn't really go well for a forest rally man. So it took a while to get any confidence back. Thought it's because it's rear wheel drive, I'm used to front wheel drive. Traded the Escort against an early F2 Escort that had a Quave 6-speed sequential box and a bag of dung. But I did 3 or 4 rallies in it, felt more comfortable, totaled it, reshelled it, sold it, quit rallying for 13 days. In all seriousness, I had lost the love for it. All I was doing was trying to stay alive, and I did get Rosemary to check her life insurance that if I died, she was going to have money, or I was worth more dead than alive. Because a lot of people don't tell the insurance that you rally, but she does. She made sure that if I was killed in a rally, I'm covered. So when you're starting to have them conversations, it's not good. But anyway, 13 days passed, and it's not neighbours, but like neighbours are home and away, the local soaps back home. When I started asking her who was who and why was he shagging him or her or whatever, she says, for fuck's sake, go buy yourself a rally here. I was the first customer. Will you buy this? Will you pay cash? So extended myself beyond what I should have, but I bought it and then built it to my spec, and it's morphed since. The Millington now that's in it is this 5th different type of engine before it got to a Millington. So that's how we got into Escorts. Can't beat them, join them.
So Saturday, Rosemary's coming out.
15th, what day is the 15th? Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Lauren as well.
Yeah, well, Lauren's definitely coming. I'm not worried if Rosemary comes or not. Will she see this? It's really important that my dear wife comes out here because I couldn't do the rally without her.
She needs to get your diet back on track. I came and visited Frank in his room today, and there was foodstuffs there that
there was just
probably shouldn't have been there.
Ben and Jerry's at 11 o'clock in the morning is the shit.
Yep.
It is the shit. I have to behave myself these days because of my age and trying to be fit and shit. So I don't get to eat shit, but you see what I'm letting out my own? Oh. What happens in Australia stays in Australia.
That's right.
And unless you tell her, nobody else knows.
I'm not saying a word to nobody.
All I'm saying is I know who told her.
Okay.
If she knows about it.
All right.
The bugger and the beetle.
Yes. Okay, and I've been sending Rosemary photos of Frank in my Beetle, just
sitting with a tub of Häagen-Dazs.
Just so she knows that Frank's in good hands over here, and it's been an absolute pleasure to absolutely host him here and have him out here. It's going to be great when my Rosemary and Lauren come over here and pull him back.
It's all about me. It's all about
you.
It's all about me.
It's all about you.
Me.
Yes, I know. It's all about you. So next event is going to be the Adelaide Rally coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
If I get through scrutineering.
Yep. So I'm certainly going to go out and find a good spot to see a bit of action. And there's going to be a heck of a lot of really good roads and roads that you're obviously familiar with as well.
Yeah, I did them 8 years ago, so they're like
them 8 years.
back of my hand,
They're
basically.
Still there. They haven't changed.
You do realise I have zero memory. It took me 2 days to work away to the top of the hill.
Okay.
And I drove down it twice to get there.
But
one Merv eventually let me in.
But I thought Bruce gave you a few tips the other day.
Bruce did give me. Brucey's here, isn't he, the bugger? Yeah.
Brucey? Where's Bruce?
Brucey's the man. He showed me the lines, and then I've been trying to find them ever since.
Okay.
What was it you said at the top when the right-hander, or left-hander, when she started to slide it? Suck in. Breathe in. Or suck in. Breathe in, bitch. I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or not, but I did.
Oh no, I don't believe it.
I got nothing.
Nothing. He's got nothing. You got to be kidding
Oh,
me.
you came up the hill with me. Why'd you not take me up the hill with you?
I didn't think that. I didn't
Yeah.
think you should have returned the favour.
We can come back next favour.
Well, not the favour.
The fright.
Did you like the fact that I left you sitting there for half an hour before I got in the car?
The invitation was already put out there, and the answer was, fuck no.
I said that to Bruce 3 times, but he's deaf apparently.
Where's he?
Or he didn't see the subtitles to know what I was saying. But I'm really, really glad I went up the hill with him, to be fair, because I've been picking at and slagging Kev since I met him about Auto, BA, Falcon in the forest.
Taxi.
What the absolute fuck? Can you not afford a manual? But going up the hill with Brucey gave me a newfound admiration, and I think I apologise to you. Well, I did in my head, I might not have said it to you. With your wee black box that sorts out the auto, and the 4 litre, and the grip, the turn in, and probably the weight helps her, I'm assuming. The first left-hander off the start line, I thought, right, we're not making this. This bastard's trying to impress me, but at least it's on his side. The impact, I'm a long way away from it because it's a big car. And then a dirt turn in, and the next one's a right-hander. I went, oh, fuck. But we made them all, and I went, this thing turns and points and goes, and then the auto click up, and there wasn't much brakes being used, I don't think. But the left-hander, when he breathed in, bitch, and we did take the whole road, but she breathed in. I was very impressed, I have to say.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Very impressed. And he tells me he's not the quick one.
No, it's Junior. It's young Cohen up here.
Yeah, so I made sure I didn't get into that.
Who's sitting there quite proudly, acknowledging the fact that
It is
quicker than
good.
his dad.
I've said to quite a few guys, because you guys run such a variety of cars and cars that we never see, it's really cool to see what you're doing, see what you make work. We all rally what we can find and what we can work with and what we can afford. And it's really cool to see it and see some of the things that are done and think that's a really good idea and that's a shite idea. But at least you see all that stuff. I'm like a sponge when it comes to stuff like that. Learn something.
And it's a great atmosphere down here. There's so many families that play together.
Yeah.
Like yours and we all totally get the being part of a motorsport family.
Well, you can see very much. I don't know if this is all through Australia or just you guys, but the way you're bringing youth through, both in the organisation side of it and the driving and competing and co-driving side of it, beautiful to see. You know, John and Shania and all the rest of the girls. It's great to see all them. And like Shania stood up there the whole weekend, and she was there a day before I was there, in her sombrero.
Yep.
And a smile on her face every time.
Well,
even when I tried to drive over her.
Yep.
You know, it's great to see that.
Yep.
Without that, what do you do?
Well, overage I think is getting a bit overrated, and I'm sort of in one of those. And we've all had our health problems, but we've got Plan B.
Are you going to rally the fuck out of it?
And it's the juniors, and bringing all the juniors into motorsport in a controlled environment, I think is just nothing short of fantastic. Now, who in the room went for a ride with Frank over the weekend?
And
One up the back.
And wants to admit to it.
And there's another. Who wants to admit to it? Merv's sheepishly got his hand up.
We make.
Right, you went for a ride? Shit, yeah. You want to tell us all about it?
I basically got the retards, didn't I?
Come on, you want to tell us about it, Merv? You got all the geriatrics on board.
They were good as gold, I have to say. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. They told me they enjoyed it.
I felt safe going around left-hand corner, so I had to wait and hold that side down.
Yeah,
You just didn't like pointing at the Armco.
Yeah, but I was out the front window, I saw a lot of Armco, you know,
Right.
when I should have been seeing it out the left hand.
Okay. So all the flies were on the side window then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next thing the car would flick, and then I'll be looking at the Armco out the front window again, but it was on the other side of the road. But those S's were extremely interesting.
As they are.
As they are.
Yep.
And going straight up the hill, we were still going sideways on the corners, so but it was very interesting, and it was over too quick,
Are you glad you let me in now?
Yeah, I am.
And what have you got to say for yourself up the back of the room there?
Never known a four-cylinder accelerate so fast. And yeah, Frank was going to set anyway, he's a steering wheel like Frank. Like Bert said though, don't go hang up there. Go backwards. Well worth every cent.
So you learned a few lessons from that? Make your drive for you?
I really did.
Yeah.
I never gone that fast.
Right.
How
Mission
not to do it
accomplished.
on gravel tyres. Thank you all for coming along, because it's lovely to get people in the car. I never think I'm going fast enough. You just feel that you give these people their value for money, essentially. Go as fast as you can, then you get to the top and think, I should have took that faster. I should have been more sideways there, and I should have been more sideways there. But
yeah, but us mere mortals appreciate it. So yeah, no, it's been terrific.
as long as they don't hurt anybody. It's usually critical not to hurt anybody. But as I did say to somebody, I have a shovel in the boot and a bag of lime. I don't know if you know the connotations to that. And I had picked a burial patch up at the top. So the lime keeps the smell down.
Well, that's why we've got Devil's Punch Pole up there. You can hide a heck of a lot of bodies up in there.
We have a lot of bogland in Ireland where there's a lot of bodies hidden that I know nothing about. But if you're searching a car and there's a shovel and a bag of lime, it's not a good sign.
Okay.
It wasn't required.
I have another contact down the bottom that is in the timing van, and we were wondering how quick Frank was going up the hill. And yeah, he a couple of 102s, and then he got down to 57s, 58, 56, I think, on the last run. And unfortunately, it might have been the weight, or it might have been a couple of donuts. We were 109.95.
Right.
I'm not sure which way to take that, but yeah, we could have been a bit quicker though, frankly.
I think you got an extra donut. I think you got an extra donut. And it could have been the inertia of the weight. I couldn't get the donut to stop.
Actually, you're wrong there. We got the donut, but you couldn't get it going again. It took a while to get it going again for the second one.
Sometimes when you do over donut it, the melting of the tyres, all of a sudden she doesn't want to go forward.
Well,
I did that.
You're stuck to the track, aren't you?
Yeah, I did that in Donegal this year. Donegal was an exceptionally dry rally this year, and I've been doing it for years and never won it. I think that ship has sailed because I'm rallying against the sons of the men I used to rally against. But we were in the top 5, got into the last stage, and I wanted to try and get a podium, but I spun on a corner in the last stage, and because it was 28, 29 degrees and the tyres had done quite a bit of rallying that day, proper tarmac tyres on a tarmac road, we spun round, pointing the wrong way, emptied her to go right the right way, and then go. Go! And it just wouldn't move, and I'm sitting at 9,000 in first gear and this thing's not moving. I thought, well, I may lift the throttle off a wee bit. And then she sort of lurched forward and I says, Lauren, fuck, we're in trouble. I must have burst the wheel, or it's wrapped around the rim, or something's happened. 2 corners later, the temperatures had dropped and we're fine and we're away. It just literally had melted the tyres.
And glued itself to the road.
It did not want to go forward. I thought we were really in trouble. After 3 days on the last stage, I had melted the whole thing. But we got a fourth. We got 4th place, which I'm over the moon with.
Okay. Excellent. So anyway, Frank's going to make an appearance down in Adelaide in a couple of weeks. We've got a world record field of something like 471 cars, which is quite absolutely astonishing. Now, there's someone in the field that I find a little interesting. That's Alistair McRae, who's also driving a Mark II Escort. Now, what's he got under the bonnet?
It's 2.5. It's KGP, which is a very similar engine to what I have. Same kind of horsepower. I've only rallied against Alistair once, and I beat him. So I would say his payback's coming.
Right.
Now I did get my missus to feed him bacon sandwiches before the stage, so I think before the rally. So I think that might have helped me. But lovely man. Yep. Absolute gentleman.
So is this going to turn into a battle between Ireland and Scotland?
Well, there'll be a few Aussies in the middle of that.
Yep.
Well, there's a few imported Aussies. There's a Scottish guy over in Melbourne, John O'Muir. He's coming in a 2.5 Millington Escort, a Flash Motorsport built car, which is a beauty.
Yep.
So that'll be 3. Has he? No, he hasn't. He's Hoosiers because I bought 4 of them. So there'll be 3 what we would call hard-hitting Escorts there, and we have Jack Monkhouse, which I would imagine will be the class of the field given his skill level and his familiarity there. So there's 4 or 5 really good two-wheel drives that will be interesting to be in the middle of. I'll take it seriously. I want to do well. I was going to do a lot of changes to the car because she's in gravel trim from the last few rallies here. But the car felt really good up the hill the last few times, and I thought, you know what, that's working. We'll just leave it as it is. So sourcing tyres, not MRFs, to get enough to do the rally. And it's a big rally. There's a lot of stage mileage. There's a lot of stages, short stages, and there's a couple of long ones. So when Lauren gets here and get jet lag out the window, we'll take at it, make good notes, and take it on as a proper serious rally and see what we can do.
Excellent.
You just mentioned about making changes from going from gravel to bitumen from a numpty that hasn't done that kind of racing. What changes do you make? Are we talking springs and dampers? Are we talking ride height?
I usually change springs, not the dampers. The settings in the dampers certainly. Ride height about 20 mil. Drop the car about 20 mil all round. I still run probably higher than a lot of my competitors. The lower you drop the car, the more you mess up your centre of gravity. You can actually get more body roll by being too low, and it messes up all your angles. So I worked that out the hard way over the years, so I don't go massively low. And I like my car soft. I do tend to run softer than most people. I like the car moving. When the car's moving, I can feel what it's doing. Most of my driving's through my arse. What I can feel, not so much with my head. That's why I get smelly at times. So the feel, it's like going up the hill on gravel tyres. I can feel what's happening. You see if I'm in something that's hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. Right, where's the let go point? Where's the let go point? You know that feeling? So once the let go point has happened, I'm a lot happier because now we're out of control, so that's great. So I do run the car softer than most, but I used to run sway bars front and back all the time. I went away from them. I never run them on gravel, but I used to run them on bitumen. About 3 or 4 years ago, we had a really, really wet rally, and I took them off because you need them off for the wet to get more grip and more movement and more weight transfer. And the next day it was bone dry, and I hadn't even time to hook them up, and the car felt fantastic. So I haven't had a sway bar on in 3 years now. So the thing's always evolving. I'm trying not to redesign the wheel anymore. And having said that, I just told you I'm going to put a left-hand drive steering rack in there for next year. But keeping the car, as being guinea pig, you're always testing something. And to get them things, you have to be guinea pig. So to a certain degree, you're starting a rally sometimes with one arm behind your back because you have a different spec than you had before, and you're having to feel your way. And it's definitely in Irish rallying, we're not any quicker than you guys. You know, no matter where you go, there's going to be quick drivers that can beat anybody on any day. But we have a lot of very quick drivers, if you understand me. You know, take your best man over to Ireland and he will be as quick as anybody. But we have, in my category, we have 10 or 12 guys could win the category any day we go out. So if you don't start with your best setup and everything perfect, you're wasting your time. If it takes a stage or two to get a feel for it, it's gone. It's already over. It's already too late because there's that amount of people ahead of you. You're either first or you're 10th. So having said that, I don't get hung up about results anymore. I want to enjoy myself. I've been about a long time. I've seen a lot of rallying. I've had a lot of fun. I know that Malcolm Wilson's not going to ring me and say, geez, you had some run up the hill the last time there's a 56. Any chance you would take a wee run on one of our yokes? That's hardly going to happen. So I don't get hung up about that. You know, and you see lots of guys getting hung up about it has to be the best or it has to be the result, and then they're like, it's the end of the world if they don't. I go out, I have fun, I scare the shit out of myself. Whatever way it goes after that, the result is immaterial. If it's good, it's great. If it's not, I still had fun. Still have to go to work on Monday morning. Still have to crawl through a roof space, pull Cat 5 cable around me.
Have you ever sat on the fence at Isle of Man?
Have I watched
Have you ever sat on the fence somewhere at Isle of Man and watched the crazies?
the motorbikes?
Yep.
No, Jesus, they'd be locked up. The good thing about those guys is, so long as they are doing what they're doing, they can't stop us rallying, is the way I look at it. That's genuine, I think. You see, if they get them stopped, which they probably will someday, then we're next. But I don't think they can leapfrog them and come to us. Because as we know, the tree hugging that's going on, the lack of common sense, the windmills that it takes more money to put there than they ever do, what generating oil or whatever, whatever oil it takes to make them, the cobalt batteries, the ridiculousness of the world. I think there will be a zero one someday. I thought COVID was going to be the zero one. I thought that's going to sort the shit out. We're going to get back to reality now. It didn't work. We're going to have to do something else. But maybe it'll be dinosaurs that'll sort it out. I don't know. But there has to be a reality check sometimes. But whether they stop us from rallying before that is the question.
Have you driven that track, just out of curiosity?
In the Manx, I haven't driven all the track, but I nearly did a rally in Isle of Man, 2013 or 14. But the bullshit at me, they asked me to come over and do a prize giving thing to give out their trophies, and with the promise of a free entry for the following year, and I did that, but I didn't get a free entry. But there was a change of leadership in the club. There was an infight, and the boys that promised me were gone. So maybe someday we'll get to Isle of Man. I don't know, but it's actually difficult to get to from Ireland. You have to sail to England and then sail back to the Isle of Man. And that's why the bike boys go on trawlers and stuff like that. You just fed up yet?
I have no idea what the time is. We've completely lost track of time. I'm not seeing anybody falling asleep in the room, which is a fantastic thing. So we could keep going for another hour, but I'm not going to. I think we've had a fair bit to say.
No questions before I shut up.
Any other questions?
How much is a Millington in Australia?
How many limbs have you for sale? What's a kidney
No,
worth?
it's kidneys. It's kidneys and livers and things like that.
You can do without a kidney and without a lung. You're looking at roughly about 70,000 Aussie dollars.
And what do we get for that? A long motor?
No, you do get the wiring loom, the ECU, the exhaust manifold, alternator starter. So you do get the whole kit, but it's ridiculously expensive. To be fair, the first time I went to the factory, I was about 5 minutes into the factory getting the tour when I realised why it's so expensive. When you get a guy standing there die grinding the washers for the cylinder head to put a chamfer on so the oil doesn't sit there and it runs down past, and that's his job, doesn't make sense. No wonder it costs an arm and a lung. So everything being hand built and not having the massive turnover of engines, they don't sell enough to make them cheap, if you understand. That was a bit like DMS, Drummond Motorsport in Australia here, the suspension I run. Before they shut down, the first time I went to the factory, I went, well, this is not going to last long. You know, it was so labour intensive to build what they're building, and the unique design that they had, and the suspension couldn't be replicated by a factory worker. It had to be a skilled engineer to do that on every shock. And the fact that he named every shock and said that's George and that's Helen, you're not going to sell them things. You know, we'll keep them maybe. You know, that wasn't going to be a viable thing. Fantastic bit of kit, but not viable. So I would say Millington doesn't make an arm and a leg profit-wise. It's a labour of love, essentially, and then at a hooligan like me rev the shit out of it.
Start saving now, okay? All right. You'll get...
10 years, I'll take you for a run when I've got one in Commodore.
Excellent.
What are you going to put it in?
A Commodore.
Commodore?
Holden.
Take a V8 out and put that in?
Yeah, no.
What was it, Van de Kamp was showing me his engine? It was basically two Millingtons.
Yep.
618 brake horsepower.
Yep.
What a crazy machine.
What a beautiful piece of work.
Get a Commodore for a Millington, I reckon.
Yeah. Now, we've got another question over here somewhere. Leah?
Are you superstitious at all? Do you have a procedure for either yourself
I'm
or
not.
baby blue?
I'm not, but when the shit hits the fan and we're having a really bad run, I start to stay away from the ladders. Maybe put on the white fronts I had on when we had a good rally. You know, I do stupid shit like that, but I don't generally do that. I don't think about that until things are going, it's clutching at straws, I suppose. When you're having a really bad run of shit and things are going badly wrong, you think, wait, what do I need to do to get this right? We'll dig them white fronts out of the basket, even though they're not washed, but they were lucky the last time I had them on. You know that? But I wouldn't say I was actually superstitious. I have no issue with numbers and stuff like that. I had a registration one time on the Fiesta, it was YIA 544. And a young lady co-drove for me one time way back. And when she turned up, she went, "I'm not getting in that car." And I says, "Why? Who told you what?" "No, 544 adds up to 13. And I'm going, "What?"
What? Really?
So she didn't. Now, it could have been a cover story for somebody saying, "You're not getting in that bad bastard." But I hadn't even realised it added up to 13. I never thought about shit like that.
Right, any further questions? Otherwise, I'm going to start winding things up here. I'm going to finish by saying that it's been an absolute privilege for me to be sitting up here with a absolute consummate professional like Frank Kelly. You can't spell that. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So it's been an absolute pleasure, privilege to be here. I hope everybody's had a good evening, and I'll give Frank's voice a bit of a rest. He's I don't know.
No, I want to say something.
You've been counting words. It's been a heck of a lot.
I want to thank everybody for the fantastic welcome we had, and thank Kev and Danielle for looking after me. It's not an easy job. Thank everybody for going up the hill. Thank the big BA for showing me the way to go. Thank Merv for letting me in, because he doesn't get enough mention. Mick for shutting the fuck up for an hour to let us talk. Graham for being gentle on me and not talking about my fetish for women's underwear.
Okay.
And for putting up with the bad language. I'm sorry about the bad language. I have a very limited vocabulary. Probably the fact you didn't understand most of the words I said helped. But I do tend to get away into the...
You're going to have to spell that word for us, though.
Vocabulary?
No, the other one that we were all trying to get our heads around.
Okay.
Right.
But thank you, one and all. Much appreciated.